Namaste. Welcome. If this video can help you to breathe with more ease and to feel optimistic and to stay healthy, then I am really happy. It can be a challenge to remain optimistic while a lot of us are in lockdown around the world, and also we are getting bombarded daily with news about what is called the corona crisis and how we can fight it. 7 years ago, I met a very special man in Nepal, and he became my teacher. And during the first days, we talked a lot, and one small sentence which he said to me touched me very deeply and made me recognize him as my teacher. What he said to me was, "I don't fight against evil. Instead, I work for good." So, instead of fighting against the coronavirus, we can learn how to use our breath for good. So for now, please relax, make yourself comfortable, because for the first 15 minutes of this video, I will explain to you how we can do this. How can we use our breath for good? And for that it is important to understand the meaning of pranayama, the yogic view on breathing, and the mechanisms of breathing. And then in the last 20 minutes of the video, we will do a short practice together. And in later videos to come, you will be able to learn more pranayama techniques one by one in each video. So I hope by now you are sitting relaxed. Don't feel that you have to sit like this simply because I am sitting like this. Any way that you feel you can listen to all the information in a relaxed way without any tension is good. So first, about the word pranayama. The second part of the word, ayama, means to stretch, to extend, to restrain, and to expand, the prana. And to expand in this case, I'm actually referring to the expansion of dimensions in time and space. So pranayama means to extend and to overcome our normal limitations. But what is prana exactly? I will try to explain it in the simplest possible way, so that you can get a deeper understanding. Prana consists of the manifested elements of the universe in the form of matter and energy. So I will repeat this one more time. Prana consists of the manifested elements of the universe in the form of matter and energy. Now from science we know that matter is really no more than an expression of energy. So therefore we can say that prana means energy. In one of the Vedic scriptures it is written that prana is the body of the self, and by the self it is meant supreme consciousness. So prana is the body of the supreme consciousness. In other words, prana is the vehicle or the medium of consciousness. This prana, this energy, can be the mind, it can be the body, but it can also be matter or any form of energy and it acts as the medium to carry consciousness. So there is a very important link between prana and consciousness. They come together, you could say. And prana is the active aspect of existence, and consciousness is the universal, inactive and witnessing principle. And both are needed for life to exist. And in this sense, we can define prana in a little bit more detail by saying that it is the subtle and vital life energy. In and around our body, there is an energy body known as the Pranamaya Kosha. And we can also call this the pranic body. And the prana, within this pranic body, the prana flows in fixed pathways, which are called nadis in Sanskrit. And it is said that we have 72,000 of these nadis in and around our body. So that's a huge network. Now, for example, nerves and blood vessels are also passages for energy flow, but the nadis are pathways for a more subtle form of prana or energy than the energies which are normally considered by physiologists. So even though neither prana nor the nadis are visible, they have been photographed, actually already many years ago, by using a technique which is called Kirlian photography. And you can find examples of Kirlian photography on the internet if you're interested in this. So both the prana as well as the nadis have been photographed that way. And we can directly work with prana through breathing. Yogic science connects different qualities to inhalation, breathing in, to exhalation, breathing out, and to breath retention, which we call kumbhaka in Sanskrit. Breath retention means either holding the breath in or outside of the body for an extended period of time. Now, inhalation is connected to the sun, ha in Sanskrit. And it stands for heating, for openness, for expansion of movements, for spaciousness, and for receiving light. Exhalation is connected to the moon, ta in Sanskrit. And it stands for opposing qualities such as cooling, putting boundaries, for grounding, for centering, and also for letting go of darkness. Breath retention, kumbhaka, stands for connection, for balance, and for actually uniting ha and ta. And then you get the word that probably many of you know, hatha, as in hatha yoga. So that really means balancing and uniting these two opposing qualities and forces. And in that sense, kumbhaka also stands for neutrality, for vulnerability, because we are actually very vulnerable when we are not breathing. It also stands for silence, and it creates a space for possibilities and for harmony between dark and light. Now, in order to connect with consciousness, we need to calm the mind first. And the mind can be like a dirty window. Now, if we look at the sun through this dirty window, then we cannot properly feel and see the rays of the sun. But if we clean the window, then we see the sun in its true glory. And our mind in its normal state is like this dirty window. And pranayama cleans the window, and it allows the consciousness, which was like the sun, so it allows the consciousness to come through unobstructed. So it is very important to understand that clearly we all have this consciousness, but it is not always simple and easy for us to be really conscious and to access that. So for that we need to work with the mind first. We need to calm it, we need to clear it, it's not like we don't have to have any thoughts. It just needs to be in peace, and it needs to be calm and kind of silent for consciousness to shine through clearly. Now finally, I would like to give a brief explanation about some of the mechanics of breathing, so more the physical aspects of breathing. So for example, you will hear me use the term abdominal or belly breathing from time to time. Now, of course, we all know that we cannot breathe in the belly, but what is it then? What is the mechanism that actually makes the belly expand when we breathe in? So there is a thin muscle, like a sheath, a thin layer between the chest cavity and the abdominal cavity. It actually separates the two. And it is called the diaphragm muscle. And it is shaped like an umbrella, you could say. It's dome-shaped. Now when we breathe in, the diaphragm muscle starts to contract. It starts to flatten out. And as it flattens out and as it is contracting, it pulls more air into the lungs, so the lungs can expand further. Now, as the diaphragm muscle continues to contract, it starts to push down on the abdominal wall, thus pushing the organs out, forward into the belly. So that makes your belly protrude. And of course, as we exhale, as we breathe out, the diaphragm muscle starts to relax slowly back into its relaxed state, into the dome shape. And when it is back into this shape, the organs can settle back into their cavities. Now, when we want to continue to breathe out further and the diaphragm muscle is already relaxed, we can do that by pulling back the belly muscles back towards the spine. And again, the organs are moved, but now they're getting squeezed. They're getting squeezed back towards the spine. So they're getting squeezed together. So from that you can understand that apart from, the obvious mechanism that when we inhale, we breathe in oxygen, and when we exhale, we breathe out carbon dioxide, and we get rid of toxins, clearly. There's so many more health benefits, and one is very obvious, and that is with the organs, because as you understand from what I just explained, the organs are getting a continuous massage with deep breathing, and that in turn ensures that all the organs get a fresh blood supply all the time, and that is so essential for the organs to be healthy and for our whole body to be healthy. And by breathing in and out only through the nose, we will automatically breathe deeper, more even and slower. And this is because the nasal passages, they are very narrow, and inside the passageways, they are divided into a labyrinth of slit-like passages. So that significantly slows down the intake of breath, during which it gets filtered and warmed up before it actually enters the lungs. You can imagine if you would take in the air directly through the mouth, it's a big passageway. When you open the mouth wider, it gets bigger and it goes straight into the lungs. So there's a big difference, and that's why in pranayama mostly we will breathe in and out through the nose. So now hopefully you have a little bit better understanding about the spiritual as well as the physical effects that pranayama can have. So enough talking. Let's do just a short practice together, and then in other videos, one by one, we will go deeper into the different practices. So for now, I would like to invite you to sit down in a way that you can sit with the spine upright. And for that, I don't know if you are sitting on the floor, perhaps you are sitting on a thin cushion, or you are sitting on a thicker, like meditation type pillow or cushion, or perhaps you're sitting on a chair. Whichever is most comfortable for you right now. But it is important that your legs are stable. So if you are sitting on the floor like I am, I'm also sitting on a thin cushion, then now start to take a position that you can hold for the next 20 minutes or so without causing any stress. For that, you can choose to sit in Sukhasana, the simple cross-legged position, or you may want to sit in Padmasana if you have a yoga practice, the lotus pose, half lotus or full lotus. Or another possibility is Vajrasana, the thunderbolt pose, in which you fold your legs underneath the body and your buttocks rest on or between the heels. Or another possibility, for example, is Siddhasana. I'm sitting in that pose in the most simple way. So let me move the stuff a bit. So you can see that my heels, they are in the midline with my body. And I have them placed in front, one in front of the other, but you can also place one on top of the other. I don't want to go too technical about all of this. If you have a yoga practice and you're comfortable with one of these poses, then by all means, you know what to do. And if you're sitting in a chair, then probably the best thing to do is to place both feet next to each other on the ground. So you're really properly grounded, so to speak. And then it is also good, if you don't feel still entirely steady, to remove the flesh from the sit bones. So you can literally pull the buttocks sideways. And when you do that, you may feel that the sit bones are more directly in contact with the surface underneath it. And once you're settled in that way, then please gently close the eyes now. And with the eyes closed, I'm going to talk you through taking a proper position, and that will only happen in this video. And you can always apply that when you practice by yourself. So now first bring your attention to your tailbone. And ever so slightly, kind of push that tailbone back and a little bit up. And when you do that, you may feel that the pelvis is tilting slightly forward. And your belly is more relaxed. It's almost, so to speak, hanging in front of the body. And also the natural curve in the spine is a little bit more pronounced when you slightly push back and push up the tailbone. It's a very slight movement. And from there, travel a little bit further up with your attention until you reach the chest area. And now very consciously open up your chest as if you offer your heart. And when you open up the chest, you will feel that there is more space for the lungs. So with the belly nice and free, allowing for the breath to go really deep down, and now with the chest open, allowing for the lungs to breathe in, to expand more. Bring your attention to your shoulders. And just to be sure that you're holding absolutely no tension there, just do a couple of slow rotations. For that, start pulling up the shoulders to your ears. Start rotating them backwards, slowly down and forward. And one more time, slowly bring them up to the ears. And as you rotate them further back and down, bring them to stillness. Now again, the chest should be beautifully open, facilitating deeper breathing. And then bring your attention up to the crown of the head. And just for a moment, imagine as if there is a thin cord, a thread, between the ceiling and the crown of your head. So now the crown and the ceiling are directly opposite each other. And you may have noticed that your chin is ever so slightly moving forward when you do that. And again, that optimizes the whole passageway for air to come in and to leave the body again. With the chin ever so slightly tucked forward, the windpipe, the opening, should be wide open. And then lastly, bring your attention to your hands, and you can rest them on the thighs or on the knees, with the index fingers and thumbs joined together so that they form a circle. And then you can choose whatever intuitively feels best to you right now, either with the palms facing upwards in Chin Mudra, or you may choose to have the palms down in Jhana Mudra. Whichever one you choose, just keep the index fingers and the thumbs lightly joined. And now you should be sitting with the spine beautifully upright, without creating tension. That is the last thing we want, of course. So it's finding a balance between sitting upright, having the whole passageway for the airflow opened, and at the same time to feel relaxed in this sitting position. And then now bring your full attention to the natural breath. So don't try to change anything right now. Only observe how you are breathing right now. And if you want, you may even place one of your hands, perhaps first on the upper part of the chest. And just try to feel where is your breath actually going. So you can check that also with the hand. Is the chest moving out and up when you breathe in? Or perhaps you breathe more deeply. Don't change it now, just check where you are. It may be that the belly is gently moving out and back in. Maybe yes, maybe no. Just check. And now we're actually going to take more control over our breath. And we're going to practice a technique which is called yogic breathing. And in yogic breathing, we actually use sort of like 3 compartments in the body. They're not really compartments, but just for the ease of explaining and for practice, we explain it that way. So when you breathe in, you start by directing the breath down towards the belly until you really feel the belly is fully out. And then you start breathing in the chest area. You feel the rib cage expand, and finally into the clavicle area, the area of the clavicles. And when you breathe out, you do that in the opposite way. So you start to release breath from the clavicular area. Then you release breath from the chest area. And finally from the abdominal area, from the belly. No forcing anything, no strain, just play around with how that feels. So while you practice that, I'll tell you a little bit more. And you can imagine that while you're breathing, it's like filling a glass with water when you breathe in. And when you breathe out, it's like emptying the glass again. So when you fill water, clearly the water will start filling from the bottom until it reaches the top. And when you start emptying the glass, when you pour out the water, it starts emptying from the top until the last drops from the bottom are removed. So that is how you can imagine this breathing as well. So when you breathe in once again, let's do it together now. So just for a moment, empty out all the air from the body so that we can start together. So start to breathe in very slowly and feel how your belly starts to move out. You may put one hand on the belly. And then as you breathe in more and more, the air will start to fill in and around the chest area. The rib cage will move out and up a little bit. And the last bit of air, as you continue to move in, will settle down around the clavicular area. And you might feel that the shoulders even ever so slightly move up. And hold it there for a moment. And then, as we breathe out, slowly release the air from the clavicular area, from the chest. The ribs are moving down again. And finally from the belly, and the belly starts to come back in. But now continue to push out the last bit of air by pulling in the muscles into the back of the spine, the muscles from the belly. And hold that for a moment. Hold your breath out Kumbhaka. Release the muscles, start breathing in, filling the belly area, filling the chest, the clavicular area, and hold the breath in now. Slowly start to release the breath from between the clavicles, from the chest area, from the belly. Continue by pulling in the belly muscles back towards the spine, pushing out the last bit of air, and hold. Release. Start by slowly breathing in. Feel how your belly expands. Breathe more. Feel how the chest starts to expand. And finally, perhaps a very slight expansion around the clavicles. Hold the breath in now. Release, start to breathe out from the clavicular area, the chest, the belly. Continue by pulling the muscles of the belly back towards the spine until the last air is out, and hold it there for a moment. Relax the muscles and start breathing in again. Belly, chest, clavicles, and hold the breath in. Kumbhaka. Release, start breathing out slowly, clavicles, chest, belly. Pull the belly muscles back, squeeze out the last bit of air, and hold that. Kumbhaka. Release the hold. Start to breathe in again. Belly, chest, clavicles, and Kumbhaka. And release, and now continue with your natural breathing. Still keeping the body without any movements. And observe for a moment the effects of this practice. Did it have an effect on your mind? On the emotions? Perhaps one leg has gone asleep, or both. And how does that affect you? Maybe you notice that your breathing has changed from when we first started. Just observe. And then we'll close this session, this practice together by chanting Om 3 times. So keep your eyes closed and bring your hands together in front of your chest, of the heart, in Anjali Mudra. And take a deep breath in now. Keeping the eyes closed, rub the palms of your hands together rapidly, creating heat and energy. And then place the palms of your hands over the closed eyes, preparing the eyes for the light to come back in a moment. With the eyes still closed, move the hands away from the eyes. And then slowly open the eyes again, looking into the palms of your own hands as you move them down into Namaste. My teacher explained to me that we all share the same prana. Whether we want it or not, whether we are even aware of it or not, it simply happens. It's a natural occurrence. And because we all share this prana, we can actually consciously do something with that. If we have positive thoughts, good feelings, feelings of love, feelings of compassion, and if we send that out into our environment, into the world, to the people who are near and dear to us, then in that way we can breathe for good. Thank you so much for being here with me. I really hope and wish that all this information has given you some insights in the different effects of pranayama. And with this small, just very small yogic breathing practice, hopefully you have felt what it can do, even a small practice like this. And I will be very happy to continue sharing more techniques with you in videos to come. And also I will be very happy if you have feedback, questions, or if you would like to share something about the experience of the session today, then please send me an email and I will definitely respond to you. Feel free to share this video, and for now, I just want to wish you peace, happiness, and good health. Thank you so much. Namaste.